ذو الفتن الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت معدود ولا عجل ممدود فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته اللهم أعف صلة سلواتك وسلامة تسليماتك على أول التعينات المفاضة من العماء رباني وآخر التنزلات المضافة إلى نوع الإنسان كان الله ولم يكن معه شيء ثاني محصي لعوالم حضرات الخمس في وجوده وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام المبين الرسول النبي المكي المدني القرشي التهامي صاحب لواء الحمد ومقام المحمود أبي القاسم محمد الحميد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أخيه وابن عمه وخليفته من بعده وقائد الغر المحجلين ياسوب الدين إمام المتقين أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب اللهم صل على وعلى ابنته الطاهرة الحوراء الإنسية الراضية المرضية الشفية يوم الجزاء فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها الله صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى قيام يوم الدين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم تر كيف ضرب الله مثلا كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون ومثل كلمة خبيثة كشجرة خبيثة اجتثت من فوق الأرض ما لها من قرار يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. I begin in the name of Allah, the most beneficent and most merciful. It's a great honor and tawfiq for all of us that we are commemorating the martyrdom of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the leader of martyrs, Sayyidul Shuhada. And as I have started my topic from the day one, the topic of discussion is to trace the footsteps of the leader of martyrs, that is Imam Hussain. How can we apply in our daily lives the principles upon which Ahl al-Bayt stood for and the principles upon which Ahl al-Bayt sacrificed their lives? And if those core principles are not deeply grounded in our iman, in our faith, then we would not be in line with that tree whose roots are deeply grounded, shajaratun tayyaba. We will fall on the side of a tree which is called shajaratul khabisa, as I had been discussing these verses. A bad tree which is uprooted and which is unstable. So therefore, it is important we recognize and understand what Imam Hussain stood for. Today, the statement of Imam Hussain that I would like to start with is the statement that he called upon the army of Yazid by saying, Ya Shi'ata Ali Abi Sufyan, O the followers of Ali Abi Sufyan, in lam yakun lakum dinun wa kuntum la takhafun al-ma'ad fakunu ahraran fid dunyakum. O the followers of Abi Sufyan, if you do not possess religion, deen, and you do not fear the hereafter, then conduct yourselves as free men in this world. Meaning conduct with honor and dignity. So the second half of the statement of Imam I would not discuss more, because the first half itself would take the whole lecture. And lam yakun lakum dinun. If you do not have religion. Now here you see that when Imam is saying this, Imam is validating, testifying, verifying that those who came against Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura, they did not possess deen. They did not have religion. If they had religion, Imam would not have said so, that you conduct yourself as free men. These were the people who did not have deen. These were the people who did not fear ma'ad, hereafter, the day of accounting. They did not fear that. So the question that comes to our mind, all of us think that automatically we all have Islam as our religion and we are all followers of Islam. So we have deen. These were the people who were calling themselves Muslims, who are here on the day of Ashura, standing against Imam Hussein. And Imam Hussein is saying, you do not possess deen. So what was it that they were conducting themselves with? If you recall the discussion of the army of Ibn Sa'd, Umar ibn Sa'd, you will find that they were saying to Umar ibn Sa'd, finish it off quickly because we need to pray Salatul Asr. We are waiting for Salatul Asr. So they had religion. What kind of religion was this? What was this religion that the grandson of the Holy Prophet, whom the Prophet of Allah had said, Al-Hasan wal-Husayn Sayyada Shabab Ahl al-Jannah, that Hasan and Hussein, who are the leaders of the youth of paradise, he is testifying that they did not possess deen. They did not possess religion. On their outward self, they had religion. But Imam Hussein is testifying they did not have deen. So what is it in our deen that we need to possess to ensure that we do not become Shajarae Mal'una, the cursed tree? We do not become amongst those who are Shajarae Khabisa, the bad tree, the tree that has gone bad. We do not go into that camp. Let me go very, very quickly, inshallah, that we find the example of, if you recall, I spoke to you about Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, how Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas declined from cursing or using foul language against Imam Ali in the court of Amir Sham, while he was giving him money to do so, by praising Imam Ali alayhi salam. But this Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas is the same person who was in the committee of those 6 people as a council appointed by the second Khalifa to appoint the third Khalifa. And Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas considered himself to be worthy of Khilafah, and therefore he declined from doing the bay'ah of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And in the life of Imam Ali, he was not a source of help. In fact, when Amirul Mu'mineen said, Saluni, Saluni, Qablan Tafkhiduni, that ask me before you will lose me, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas came and asked Imam Ali, tell me how many hair do I have in my head? Imam Ali said, even if I tell you the number, would you be able to verify it? But let me tell you that you can verify. Let me tell you from the future that your son shall be the killer of my son. And you know who's the son of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas? Umar ibn Sa'd. See how quickly Shajara Khabisa can move forward. How quickly Shajara Mal'una, the moment you move away from the axis, how the deviation can take place forever. You know, in mathematics, if there are two parallel lines, the moment they are not parallel, if it moves, what happens? They will never meet because they are not parallel. So once there is a small deviation, it would keep distancing itself away. And that is what happened, that Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas did not do the bay'ah of Imam Ali, and his son Umar ibn Sa'd was the commander-in-chief of the army of Yazid on the day of Ashura. So likewise, my dear brothers and sisters, we need to ensure we recognize what is deen and we uphold that deen. Why is Islam talking about khabis and tayyib? Quran itself says in Surah Anfal verse 37, لِيَمِيزَ اللَّهُ الْقَبِيسَ مِنْ tayyib. Allah may separate the khabis, the bad, from the good ones. And I'm leaving the part in the middle. What is the consequences of that? Quran says, وَيَجْعَلُهُ فِي جَهَنَّمَ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. So that Allah could cast those who is khabis in hellfire. It is they who are khasirun. It is they who are the losers. So if we fall into the rank of khabis, we would be losers. We need to be on the ranks, on the sides of tayyib. Look at the byproduct of the teachings of Ahl al-Bayt. You all are aware of Maysam Ammar. How Maysam Ammar was told by Imam Ali alayhi salam what are going to be the consequences of his love to Amirul Mu'mineen. Was he shaken by that Ibn Ziyad was willing to kill him? Ibn Ziyad was willing to crucify him. He was the first one in Islam to be crucified. Maysam Ammar. He was crucified as the Christian traditions talk about crucifixion that the Jews had done in the past. He was the first one, Maysam Ammar was the first one in Islam for whom those who call themselves Muslims pulled his tongue out of his mouth while he was alive. You know, these atrocities that we see today, this is Shajara Khabisa. You remember the line, you remember the hadith I shared with you of Imam Hassan defending in the court of Amir Sham when he was speaking to Marwan, that Imam Hassan says that nobody in this court can deny what my grandfather had said about you, about your father and your generations to come in the future. You are all Shajara Mal'una, you are all from the cursed tree. So even today you find Muslims who are from the cursed tree. So on their outward self you would find deen in them, but their hearts are all tainted with qasawa. Their hearts are all blackened. Their hearts are all corrupt. And therefore we find on one side they call about Islam, but when you look at their character does not represent Islam. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. What does Quran say? Surah Nisa verse 125. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ دِينًا مِمَّنْ أَسْلَمَ وَجْهَهُ لِلَّهِ وَهُوَ مُحْسِنٌ وَاتَّبَعَ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا. What is Quran saying? Quran is saying, and who has a better religion than him? Man ahsana dinan mimman aslama wajhahu lillah. Who has a better religion than the one who will submit his will to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we have religion which is ahsan, which is the best, which is better, then we have to submit our will to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the light of Holy Quran. And then وَهُوَ مُحْسِنٌ, and he is the person who is muhsin, meaning that he conducts himself with ihsan, meaning that he performs virtuous actions. Lip service is not sufficient. If we just say, oh yeah, my heart is pure, my heart is good, your religion, brother, has to be in your heart. As long as you are, good in your heart, that's all what matters. I don't really care. I don't really judge others. I don't want anybody to judge me. These sort of conversations you might have heard in a very secular, settings. Islam expects, if you submit your will to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what do you need to do? You need to conduct yourself with virtuous actions. And then, وَاتَّبَعَ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ, and follow the creed of Abraham. Follow the millah of Ibrahim. If we are doing that, then we are better in our religion. But if we are not doing so, we are not better. And how important this deen is, I'm going to cite very quickly a hadith from Ahlul Bayt which talks about it. How Ahlul Bayt had cared about upholding their deen. This is a hadith from Kafi, from our fifth Imam. يقول عند المصيبة الحمد لله الذي لم يجعل مصيبتي في ديني. That the Imam would praise Allah, saying in a hardship, Imam would praise Allah in hardship, saying that I praise Allah who had not provided, who had not casted my religion in hardship. So I can confront everything, but I do not want myself to be under the pressure of my religion being shaken. I praise Allah, lam yaj'al musibati fi dini, that He did not put hardship in my religion. Because for Imam, religion is very, very important. There are many other, narrations, like especially the dua of istikhara in the same context. If you want to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of this hadith, it talks about how if you desire something from Allah, that you pray 2 rakat salat, and then you praise Allah, and then you say salawat, and then you say, Allahumma in kana hazal amr khayran li fi dini wa dunyaya. And then you make dua, oh Allah, this affair that I'm asking you to make it easy for me, do it only if this affair is good for me in my religion and in my dunya, in my world or in my life. So the first thing is religion. If it is not good for my religion, oh Allah, I do not want this. This is what we are asking Allah. If we are making istikhara, this is the dua which we do, and we say, oh Allah, this affair that I am asking you to help me, only make it successful if it is good for my deen. And if it's not good for my deen, I don't want that. What does it show, my dear brothers and sisters? It shows the importance of deen in our lives. Do we consider deen as an axis of our life around which our life is revolving, or deen is something that we do in our free time when we have nothing else to do, or in our old age when we do not have the ability to perform virtuous actions, and we have nobody to look up to. We have children who ignore us, and we do not have immediate family because we abandoned them, because we did not do any sile rahmi, and we did khate rahmi, meaning that we cut off ties with our loved ones, and now we are all alone, we have no job, and we are inflicted with a disease, and now at this time we are saying, oh, okay, now I can pray. Not that Allah is not merciful, not that Allah would help us at that point in life too. I'm not undermining that, but what I'm trying to say is, deen should be our first priority. And when we look at a hadith, Allahumma, in another hadith, another dua, Allahumma la taj'al dunya akbara hammi wa la taj'al musibati fi dini. We ask Allah, oh Allah, do not make this world my most, hum, or do not make my worldly affairs the greatest worry of my life. And the dua is, La taj'al musibati fi dini. Oh Allah, do not make hardship in my religion. Help me so that I do not exert or get under hardship in my religion. You're always keeping your religion as first, as your priority. Your religion is not your last priority. Your religion is not something that you do in the privacy of your home. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Please recite a loud salawat and come forward so that we can have more people coming in, I guess. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So my dear brothers and sisters, our religion should be our priority. We see Imams making dua that, oh Allah, I praise you. Oh Allah, do not put my religion into hardship. Because religion is the most important aspect. Now I want you to reflect on what religion. Because Imam Hussein is testifying the army of Yazid did not possess religion. In their outward self, they were Muslims. Weren't they Muslims? Of course they were Muslims in their outward self. But when the grandson of the Holy Prophet, whom the Prophet of Allah had said that he is the leader of the youth of paradise, he can never lie. Because he is ma'soom, because he is infallible, because he is divinely inspired by Allah through his messenger. When he says somebody does not have deen, that means he does not have deen. Period. There's nothing further to be discussed. And this is, I'm not saying as a follower of Ahlul Bayt, this is even accepted by other schools, that Imam Hussein cannot lie. Because the Prophet of Allah had said, Al-Hasan and Hussein imaman. They are both imam, whether they are sitting or they are standing. So everyone testifies that ayat-e tathir, the verse of purification of Ahlul Bayt, is for Ahlul Bayt, and Imam Hussein is one of them. And Allah had promised himself that he would protect them from any form of impurity. And if Imam Hussein says this person doesn't have deen, this person doesn't have deen. So we need to know as Muslims what is it that is lacking that could make us fall into the trap of shajarate mal'una, the tree which is cursed. Now another, hadith that is very extensive in the holy month of Ramadan. In the beginning of Ramadan, we talk about this hadith that the last week of Shaban, the Prophet of Allah gave a sermon and he invited everybody towards the holy month and talked about the benefits of the holy month and how important this holy month is. And the narrator of hadith is Amirul Mu'mineen himself. And in that hadith, in the end, the Prophet of Allah starts crying because the Prophet of Allah, the Imam asks, Ya Rasulullah, why are you crying? And the Prophet of Allah tells him, Ya Ali, this is the time in the holy month that the worst upon earth would assassinate and kill the best upon earth, you, O Ya Ali. And the Prophet of Allah is crying. When in this hadith, Imam Ali asks the Holy Prophet, hearing his martyrdom, that the Prophet of Allah says that, oh Ali, you are going to be martyred. And what is the question Imam Ali is asking? فَخُلْتُ, Imam Ali himself saying, so I asked, Ya Rasulullah, وَذَلِكَ فِي سَلَامَةٍ مِّن دِينِي. When this happens, Ya Rasulullah, my deen will be intact, my religion would be intact when I am going to be killed, when I am going to be assassinated, when I am going to be martyred. If this hardship that I am going to undergo while this is happening, will my deen be intact? He is Imam al-Muttaqeen, my dear brothers and sisters. And the Prophet of Allah is telling Imam Ali, yes, Ya Ali, your deen is going to be intact. Showing the importance of deen. Showing the importance of religion. Now, So it is a collection of beliefs as well as actions. Okay, I'm just going to highlight some of them very quickly. Another narration in which a person comes to the Holy Prophet and says, Ya Rasulullah, mad deen, what is deen? And the Prophet of Allah says, فَقَالَ حُسْنُ الْقُلْقِ. Deen is husnul qulq. Deen is good conduct and good character. This is deen. Then the narration says that he goes to the right side of the Holy Prophet and asks the same question. Ya Rasulullah, what is deen? Mad deen. And again the Prophet of Allah says, husnul qulq. He goes to the left side and he says, Ya Rasulullah, what is deen? And the third time also the Prophet of Allah says, husnul qulq. The narration says he goes from the back and he asks, Ya Rasulullah, what is deen? The narration says that the Prophet turned towards him, فَالْتَفَتَ عِلَيْهِ وَقَالَ أَمَّا تَفَقُّهُ الدِّينِ هُوَ أَنْ لَا تَغْزَبْ. Now the Prophet says that understanding of religion is that you do not engage in anger. You do not become angry. Meaning that you control your anger. So deen is what? Upright moral character. That is deen. And the understanding of deen is manifested in a person who is calm and who does not get angry in the light of this hadith. This is deen, my dear brothers and sisters. Deen is not something that we are born into. Deen is a path. Deen is a way that we embark on that journey. Deen is not something that is in our heart, but rather it is manifested by our actions. Who had the best of character? Quran itself testifies, Innaka la'ala khuluqin azim. To the Holy Prophet, Quran says, O Prophet of Allah, indeed you possess the great character, the best of character. So if we want to ensure that we have the best character, we need to follow and emulate whom Allah had commanded us to emulate. Lakum fi rasulillahi uswatun hasana. In the Prophet you have the best exemplar. So we need to follow the Holy Prophet. When we look at the Holy Prophet, look at the patience, look at the conciliatory tone of the Holy Prophet when he is dealing and conducting himself. Let me give you the events after the victory of Mecca. After the victory of Mecca, if you look into the history of Islam, you will find that all the battles that were forced upon the Holy Prophet and Muslims were instigated, and the architect of all those battles was Abu Sufyan. Almost every battle that Muslims were confronted with, that Quraysh came to fight with Muslims, that was initiated with Abu Sufyan making the case, going from one tribe to another tribe, convincing them to go against Rasulullah and fight against Rasulullah. And at the victory of Mecca, when Muslims entered Mecca and Muslims took Mecca without a fight, that was the time Muslims were thirsty of the blood of Abu Sufyan. They were waiting because of these battles, a lot of Muslims lost their loved ones, their friends, other believers, and they definitely wanted to ensure that they would take down the architect of this fitna, this transgression that was caused in Arabia because of Abu Sufyan. And what does Abu Sufyan do? Abu Sufyan quickly finds the good office of Abbas, the uncle of Rasulullah. And he goes to Abbas and he says that, Abbas, your nephew has really prevailed. Now that we had some relationships in the past, I would seek your help to get to him. And I would like to submit, this was the best time to vent the anger of Muslims, because Muslims were prevailed. They had prevailed. There was no confrontation, and the Meccan Arabs surrendered. There was no confrontation. The Prophet of Allah could have said, now this is the time I should revenge, and I don't have to kill all the Quraysh, but I should, tear Abu Sufyan into pieces for what he has done to Islam and Muslims for so many years. But you don't see the Prophet doing anything like that. What do you see? You see that the Prophet of Allah honors Abu Sufyan with a reconciliatory tone and says, whoever goes to the house of Abu Sufyan, he would get sanctity. Whoever lives in his home or goes to the house of Abu Sufyan, he is safe. He maintained the honor of Abu Sufyan that he possessed before Islam, along with the Meccan Quraysh. The same honor the Prophet of Allah upheld his honor when he, on his outward self, tried to show that he is becoming a Muslim. There was no, revenge. There was no tone of revenge. There was no revenge. The Muslims would have loved to tear Abu Sufyan into pieces. All the Prophet of Allah had to do was turn his face around, and they would have taken care of him. But the Prophet of Allah brought Abu Sufyan, gave him the respect and the honor that he possessed while he was not a Muslim. So look at the reconciliatory tone of Rasulullah. Look at the akhlaq of the Holy Prophet, the character, the moral character of the Holy Prophet. On the other side, Shajare Khabisa, the bad tree, they were always, planning, instigating, causing fitna. They were always in that mode. While they would come near the Holy Prophet, they would show themselves as Muslims, but when they would go to their own shayateen, they would conspire against Islam, Muslims and the Holy Prophet. They would do all of that. But when you look at the character of the Holy Prophet, reconciliation, forgiveness, compassion. Deen is all about good character, my dear and sisters. So if somebody talks about Islam and then he, look at some of these people who become very zealous in religion. You find them to be very, very angry. For some reason, they become very, very angry. You don't know why they are very, very angry. Why not, And the next thing that they do, they start accusing everybody else to be kafir. Oh, you do this, you bid'ah, you kafir. You do this is bid'ah, you kafir. And you find a lot of anger in them. You find a lot of frustration in them. And what is the Prophet of Allah saying? That deen, if you have the tafaqquh, understanding of deen, the manifestation of the understanding of deen would ensure that you do not have ghazab, you do not have anger in you. You will be calm. You will be composed. You will be having itminan. You will be having that tawakkul. You will be having that aspiration that things do not, are controlled by me, but there is a controller above all of us who is the controller of the outcome of our affairs. All we have to do is our duty. All we have to do is our part. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. From the dua of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, our fourth Imam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. What is deen? That the Imam is praising, Walhamdulillah alladhi habana bi deenihi wa ikhtassana bi millatihi. Imam Sajjad in the 47th dua, in reference to the holy month of Ramadan, Imam is praising Allah. And praise belongs to Allah who showed favor to us through His religion, singled us out of His creed. So when you look at the tafsir, when I was looking at the tafsir of this a very famous tafsir of Sahifa Sajjadiya by Sayyid Ali Khan Shirazi, called, the name of the book is Riyazus Salikin, in which Sayyid Ali Khan Shirazi writes about this. And then he says Habana here, meaning that this favor that Allah had granted us, it is to grant a favor without any return. So Allah has done hiba to us, granted a favor to us by giving us His deen. And He's not expecting any return from us. Even Rasulullah is not expecting any return from us. What does Rasulullah say? In fact, what Allah commands Rasulullah to say, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. O Prophet, tell them that I do not expect any reward from the ummah for the labor and the hardships that I have exerted to bring about Islam and to bring about religion to them. I don't expect anything for the love of except for the love of my family, my aqraba. All I want is love of my aqraba. This is the only thing that Quran is demanding from the followers to whom the Prophet had brought religion. Now here in this tafsir he says that wal murad bi dinihi ta'ala al Islam li qawlihi ta'ala. So here the murad or the consequences of what Imam is asking, that by praising Alhamdulillah Allazi Habana Bedinihi, we praise to Allah who had granted us His religion. Of course it is Islam, nothing else. It is Islam, with the reference to the verse of Surah Al Imran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Afa ghayra dinillah yabghun. Do they then seek a religion other than Allah's? Verse of Holy Quran. And then the verse continues and it talks about أَفَغَيْرَ دِينِ اللَّهِ يَبْغُونَ وَلَهُ أَسْلَمَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ تَوْعًا وَكَرْهًا وَإِلَيْهِ يُرْجَعُونَ. Do they then seek a religion other than Allah's, while to Allah submits whoever there is in the heavens and in the earth, willingly or unwillingly, and to Him they will be brought back. So there is no other deen except the deen of Allah. And Allah is saying to those whom I have given my religion, they shall submit willingly or unwillingly. If Allah wants us to unwillingly submit to His religion, Allah does not need our help or anybody's help, nor the help of any prophet. If He wants us to accept Islam unwillingly, He can force upon it. And the good example is, you can see in other creation where Allah has created the fitrah of other creations like that of animals. They know exactly what to do and how to do, and they exactly have been doing the same thing over and over and over again for hundreds and thousands of years without them being told by anybody. A tiger is not told that you can only eat meat, but the tiger knows. And a cow does not have to be told that you can only eat grass, right? What does it show? That Allah had programmed them. It is only mankind Allah had given the power of choice. And man abuses it and misuses it. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So here the difference between the millah and deen, because there is millat Ibrahim, the reference to the, sometimes we can be part of a millah, we can be part of a nation, but we will not be part of the deen. You know, some of these Abrahamic faiths that have brought in a lot of pain to Muslims in today's time, who call themselves to be amongst the best in Allah's creation, they do not have religion, but they are a millah. They only talk about their nationhood. When you go and look at their deen, you will not find anything of deen in them. All they are talking about millah. So likewise here in the tafsir, it talks about innahuma yatahaddan bizzat wa yakhtalifan bil i'tibar. Deen and millah, they are both in essence from the same source, but they differ in their manifestation. What is the difference in manifestation? فَإِنَّ الشَّرِيعَةَ مِنْ حَيْثُ إِنَّهَا يُتَابِهَا تُسَمَّ دِينًا. Sharia, religion that has been prescribed such that it is followed, that is called religion. And where you come together as a group, that is called millah. That is only millat or millah. But deen is that path that has been prescribed and you are following it. And if you are not doing that, obviously you are not on the deen. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, how can we preserve this deen that we have gotten, my dear brothers and sisters? When we look into the light of ahadith, again we will know that our Aimma have taught how when our deen is grounded in tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if our asl is tawheed, whose roots are emanating through the nabuwa and the imama, then obviously we would have a deen that is being protected. If that is not the case, we might be having the roots of a tree that is shallow, and the examples in the history of Islam are like that of Khawarij. On their outward self, they had deen. They were memorizers of Holy Quran. And in fact, there is a narration, I was trying to retrieve it. One of the companions of Imam Ali, the narration says that Imam Ali was going along with this companion, and this companion hears a very, very beautiful voice of recitation of Holy Quran, to the extent he starts crying. What a beautiful voice. Imam Ali turns around and he says that this voice that you are hearing of Holy Quran, this guy is the fuel for the fire of hell. My gosh. The Imam is informing this companion that this person who is reciting Quran so beautifully, this person is the fuel for the fire of hell. And the companion himself says, I would not object. Obviously, I am the companion of Amirul Mu'mineen, but in my heart, I did had a shred of doubt that infiltrated in my heart. How can this person, when I can see when he's reciting Quran, I could not resist but cry because of the huzn he himself has for the recitation of the Holy Quran. How pious this person could be. And the Imam is saying this person is going to be the fuel for the fire of hell. Until the battle of Nahrawan, the last battle with the Khawarij that Amirul Mu'mineen had. And in that battle, Imam Ali calls that companion and says, you remember on that night when we were going from that house, you heard the recitation of Holy Quran and you were crying, and in your heart you had a thought that infiltrated and said, when I told you that this person is from the fuel of fire of hell, you said, how can this person go to hell when he can recite Quran so beautifully? That person is dead and he's lying there. Look at him. This is the same person who came and fought against me, and he's here lying. He's from one of the Khawarij. So my dear brothers and sisters, deen is not the outward self. Deen is all connected with Tawheed, Nabuwat and Imamat. If it is, these links are not properly connected, if you break the link, then there would not be any continuity. And if that link is broken and some corrupt link comes in, then it is called virus in software. You guys live in semiconductor, it is no more semiconductor industry, it is all software industry. When I used to live here, it used to be semiconductor industry. All the Intels and AMDs and everybody was here, but now it's only software. But so if you take a packet of data, or if you take a code in middle and then you plug in something else in between, that's how you create virus. So if the link is broken, then the authentication mechanism would be broken. Whether that is for Bitcoin or there are other technologies that are coming out. What is that? Blockchain. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. So they maintain the integrity of every packet, so there is continuity and nothing is broken in between. And that is how we need to maintain the integrity and continuity that Allah had commanded us to follow from Rasulullah all the way to Imamah. This is the hadith from our sixth Imam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. That intizar faraj, while we are awaiting for the coming of the Imam, our sixth Imam had advised us a dua. What should be the dua during the awaiting of the coming of the Imam of our time, while we are in the state of awaiting for the return of our Imam. The narration says that Imam taught this dua to Zurara and said, Zurara, this is how you need to recite this dua. Allahumma arifni nafsak. O Allah, make me aware of you. Give me your ma'rifah. فَإِنَّكَ إِن لَمْ تُعَرِّفْنِي نَفْسَكَ لَمْ عَارِفْ نَبِيَّكَ. Oh Allah, if I do not know you, if I do not know who you are, then I would not be able to know your prophet. So we need to know Tawheed to know prophethood. And the dua says, it continues, Allahumma arifni rasulak. Oh Allah, give me the inspiration to know your prophet. Give me the inspiration and tawfiq and ma'rifah to know your prophet. فَإِنَّكَ إِن لَمْ تُعَرِّفْنِي رَسُولَكَ لَمْ عَارِفْ حُجَّتَكَ. If I do not understand and know your prophet, I would not know your hujjah who is going to come after him. So if we don't understand the Holy Prophet, if we don't understand the concept of Nubuwah, we will not understand the concept of Imamah. If we think Nabi, the Prophet, is just like us, our younger brother or older brother, just like us, then we have not understood what prophethood is all about. And if we try to undermine that those who came after the Holy Prophet, who opened the market of bid'ah and sold this product of bid'ah everywhere, Ibn Taymiyyah, there are books that quote that Ibn Taymiyyah, if he comes, there are people who have quoted Ibn Taymiyyah would come in their dream and we would ask him about fiqhi questions, jurisprudential questions, and he would answer them as they should be. So Ibn Taymiyyah, even after his death, can come into the dreams of people and he can respond to their queries. And the same people say that the Prophet is dead, he cannot hear us, he cannot listen to us, he cannot do anything. He is helpless. This is, what has been created. So if we don't understand the Prophet, we will not understand his hujjah. So those who did not understand Rasulullah properly, they could not understand Amirul Mu'mineen properly. Those who conspired against Rasulullah, they could never be in the ranks of the companions of Imam Ali, because they have not understood prophethood. Especially when we look at Khawarij, we find that they were in some form or the other. In fact, when you look at Shahid Mutahari, he attributes the Islamic zeal for extending territory during the times of the first three Khulafas, where Muslims became very, very absorbed and engaged in going and extending their territory, going to other lands and annexing those lands. They lost the aspect, the spiritual aspect of religion and training people, as a result of which people who came into the fold of Islam at that time, they in their outward self became pious, but their hearts were corrupt because they were not trained. And they were the product which is called Khawarij. Even today that is the case. When you look at all these ISIS, ISIL, they might be in their first step sincere in trying to seek Islam. But those who invited them towards Islam, their objective was not Islam. Their objective was to attain their own aspirations by committing crime against humanity, and these people were being used. And they are very shallow in their knowledge. Go and look at their knowledge. Go and look at their conduct. They are chewing the hearts of innocent people. This is what Islam had taught. They know nothing about Islam. They just enter into Islam and they are being used. So likewise we find that those who do not have the ma'rifah of the Prophet, they would not have the ma'rifah of the Imam. What would be the consequence of not having the ma'rifah of Imam? Allahumma arifni hujjatak. Oh Allah, give me the inspiration and ma'rifah and tawfiq to know your hujjah, to know the Imam. فَإِنَّكَ إِن لَمْ تُعَرِّفْنِي حُجَّتَكَ زَلَلْتُ عَنْ دِينِي. Oh Allah, if I do not know your hujjah, then I shall deviate from your deen. So if we want to uphold our deen, my dear brothers and sisters, then we need to know Tawheed, we need to know Nabuwa, we need to know Imama, and if these are all intact, then our deen is going to be intact. Otherwise, we will be deviated from the path of Sirat al-Mustaqim. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So this statement of Imam Hussein is showing that those who came in Karbala, they lacked the ma'rifah of the hujjah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they did not have deen. The Imam is saying that you do not possess deen, you do not fear ma'ad, then be like free men. That shows that they did not have the ma'rifah of the Imam. And if they did not have the ma'rifah of the Imam, we would know that they did not have the ma'rifah of nubuwah. If they did not have the ma'rifah of nubuwah, they did not have the ma'rifah of Allah Himself. Because the Imam himself is declaring that if you do not possess religion as deen, and you do not fear ma'ad. Who do not fear ma'ad? Those who do not have the ma'rifah of Allah, those who do not know their Creator, those who do not understand how their Creator is going to hold them accountable for their actions. But if we believe in Tawheed, if we believe in Nabuwah, if we believe in Imama, we will uphold our deen. Now we look at other references. Mad-deen illa al-hub. Another hadith of the Holy Prophet. What is deen except for love? What is deen except for love? In fact, if you want to know what is love, the Prophet of Allah, the Quran itself declares, O Prophet, tell them, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي. O Prophet, tell them, the verses of Quran, if they love Allah, then they need to follow you. يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ يَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ. And if you do so, Allah would love you back and Allah would forgive you. So my dear brothers and sisters, we need to uphold this value of deen. We need to ensure that we, under no circumstances, compromise with our deen. And this was demonstrated on the day of Ashura, not only by old, but even by young. Tonight we are going to commemorate the martyrdom of the children of Zainab Kubra, the beloved daughter of Amirul Mu'mineen. You all are aware, my dear brothers and sisters, the role that Hazrat Zainab had played in Karbala, how important that role was, and how Hazrat Zainab had ensured that she could expose oppression and zulm that was conducted not only upon Islam but also upon Ahlul Bayt. Therefore, when we look into Maqatil, when we look into the history of Karbala, we find that how Hazrat Zainab wanted to accompany Imam Hussein. My dear brothers and sisters, when Imam Hussein realized that with Marwan, who is from the cursed tree, Shajare Mal'una, conspiring to assassinate Imam Hussein in Medina, just like how Amirul Mu'mineen was assassinated in Kufa and how Imam Hassan was given poison before. Imam Hussein decided to expose these munafiqeen, these hypocrites, and it required that Imam would move away from Medina, because with every Masum's martyrdom, the accusation was on a third party, and the source was hiding behind the third party who was instigating all these assassinations. And when Imam had decided, Bani Hashim came to know, and there were preparations during when the day came out. Although in the night when the confrontation that Imam Hussein had with Walid, Abdullah ibn Zubair, when he becomes aware, because Yazid was also demanding bay'ah from Abdullah ibn Zubair, Abdullah ibn Zubair decided to take the cover of the night and flee in the night from Medina. In fact, he even advised Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein said, I am not going to do such a thing. I have not committed any wrong to flee. I shall leave only so that there is no fitna in the city of the Holy Prophet. And Abdullah ibn Zubair, in the night, he took the cover in the night and fled to Mecca from the shortest route. But Imam Hussein, in the following day, decided to go and to leave Medina, and the preparation started for leaving Medina. But my dear brothers and sisters, when Hazrat Zainab Kubra is made aware that Imam Hussein is leaving for Medina, you would understand how much Zainab loved Imam Hussein all the way from her childhood, and how Imam Ali had warned Imam Hussein's martyrdom to Zainab, and on his deathbed Imam Ali had said, "Oh Zainab, you have to accompany Hussein, because my son Hussein is going to be inflicted with zulm in Karbala." The moment Hazrat Zainab came to know that Imam Hussein is leaving, she was in a state of anxiety and she was crying, and she seeks her husband Abdullah ibn Ja'far. And Abdullah ibn Ja'far, when he arrives in the home, Hazrat Zainab says, "Oh Abdullah, have you heard that my brother Hussein is leaving for Karbala? My brother is leaving the hometown of his grandfather. My brother is leaving the mujawara of his grandfather's shrine. Oh Abdullah, you are aware how much I love my brother, and if I would not be able to exist even for a moment if Hussein is not along my side, and I would like you to permit me, O Abdullah, so I can accompany my brother." And Hazrat Abdullah, he says that, "Oh beloved daughter of Amirul Mu'mineen, I am aware of the circumstances, and your father had also informed me about it. How can I stop you from not accompanying Imam Hussein? I would have also accompanied. My health is not helping me. Oh beloved daughter of Rasulullah, oh beloved daughter of Hazrat Zahra, oh beloved daughter of Amirul Mu'mineen, I give you permission. Please accompany Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Here there are preparations that are going on, and Ahlul Bayt are preparing, and the men of Ahlul Bayt are preparing, and the time came when the women started to board, and women started to come outside so that they could be mounted on camels. When Farwa arrived, Hazrat Qasim came forward, helping his mother to mount on the camel. And when Layla arrives, Ali Akbar comes forward to help his mother to mount on the camel, and the daughter of Amirul Mu'mineen, Kulthum, leaves the home, and people are told that put your eyes down, let there be enough hijab. The daughter of Amirul Mu'mineen is coming out to be leaving from the city of Medina, and Abul Fazl al-Abbas comes forward and helps Kulthum to mount on the camel. And finally people are informed, everybody be aware, the eldest daughter of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Zainab Kubra is arriving. The moment Imam Hussein hears Zainab is arriving, Imam Hussein goes forward to receive Zainab and to help Zainab to mounting on the camel as the caravan is approaching, as the caravan is leaving Medina to a journey from which the grandson of the Holy Prophet would not return. My dear brothers and sisters, there are two narrations. One says that the children of Zainab accompanied her, and the other says that the children of Zainab came with Abdullah in Mecca, and from there their journey started. However, both Aun and Muhammad, these are the sons of Hazrat Zainab with Abdullah, and they both accompanied Zainab in Karbala. And on the day of Ashura, while every companion was striving to be the first who would be martyred in the way of Allah, helping the grandson of the Holy Prophet, we find these children were also very, very anxious to ensure that they could sacrifice their life. My dear brothers and sisters, every moment passes and there is a shaheed and there is a martyr. However, the companions did not allow the loved ones of Imam Hussein to be sacrificed before them, and they were the first one who went forward and sacrificed their lives. When the turn of loved ones came, the children of Ahl al-Bayt were striving to go forward, and Zainab Kubra would inquire from Aun and from Muhammad, "Oh Aun and oh Muhammad, what is happening to you? Why don't I see that you drink the drink of martyrdom? How come you are still alive?" And the children would say, "Oh, our beloved mother, our uncle Hussein is not giving us permission. Oh mother, we seek your intercession so that our uncle would give us permission." And Hazrat Zainab approaches Imam Hussein, "Oh my beloved brother, I would like to sacrifice my children. I would ask you to permit them so that they could go into the battlefield and fight for the sake of Islam and fight for protecting you." And Imam Hussein says, "How can I allow this, O Zainab? These are the children of my sister." And Hazrat Zainab says, "Oh my beloved brother, I would not consider my children in front of the son of Fatima, and you are the son of Fatima, and I am asking Allah that Allah would preserve you, and I would sacrifice my children." And the time came when Aun and Muhammad, they went into the battlefield, and their mother Zainab warned them, "Oh Aun and Muhammad, you are well aware on the day of Ashura everyone is thirsty, all the children are thirsty, even the 6 months old baby of Imam Hussein is thirsty. Oh Aun and oh Muhammad, be aware that you would never turn your face even towards the river of Furat. You are going to attack the heart of the enemy. You are going to take down Umar ibn Saad." And these children go into the battlefield and they fight very, very bravely. The enemy underestimates these children in the beginning. However, when they see the battlefield and when they start going deeper and deeper towards the camp of enemy, especially Umar ibn Saad gives an order and he says, "What are you doing, the army of Yazid? These are the children of Ali ibn Abi Talib and Jafar Tayyar. Their veins are running the blood of Ali ibn Abi Talib and Jafar Tayyar. Do not let them come near me. They would finish me off. Make sure that you can take them down." A time came when the enemy surrounded these children. These children fought bravely, but how long they would have fought? How long could they have fought? The army of Yazid was in thousands, and the children were young, and they fell. And the time came when they said, "Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulullah." Oh, our beloved uncle Hussein, accept our last salam. Imam Hussein, when he hears, he starts going, hastening towards the army, hastening towards the Makhtal, hastening towards the battleground, along with Ali Akbar and along with Abbas, only to find these children martyred in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Karbala, Imam Hussein cries and carries the bodies of Aun and of Muhammad and come towards the camp of Zainab, and Zainab Kubra is informed that their children had arrived. And when Zainab Kubra came, knowing that both of her sons have been martyred, there was not a single tear in the eyes of Zainab. Rather, she sat between them and then went into the state of sajda, into the state of prostration. Oh Allah, I thank you, Allah, for accepting this sacrifice. Oh Allah, accept my dua, then that the son of Fatima would be saved, the grandson of the Holy Prophet would be saved. I would say, oh Zainab, you had given your own generation for preserving Hussein alayhi salam, and Asr-e Ashur, you were the one, and you were coming to Umar ibn Saad and demanding and asking and requesting Umar Saad, oh Umar Saad, you are seeing the grandson of the Holy Prophet is being slaughtered and not saving him. سَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. We ask you, Allah, on account of the martyrdom of Aun and Muhammad, the children of Hazrat Zainab, and all the Shuhada-e Karbala, all the martyrs of Karbala, O Allah, fulfill the hajat of mu'mineen who are present here tonight in this majlis. We ask you, Allah, to protect life, honor, property, and dignity of believers wherever they are. We ask you, Allah, O Allah, if the enemies of Islam are worthy of guidance, please guide them, otherwise destroy them and humiliate them. O Allah, forgive those who have passed away from our community. Cure those who are sick in our community. O Allah, hasten the reappearance of your Hujjah and make us such that your Hujjah would be pleased with us. Matam Hussein. Yes.
Ya Hussein. Hussein, Hussein, King of martyrs. Hussein, Hussein has been slaughtered. Hussein, Hussein, true believers. Hussein, Hussein are his weepers. Hussein, Hussein, King of martyrs. Hussein, Hussein has been slaughtered. Hussein, Hussein, true believers. Hussein, Hussein are his weeper. Hussein, Hussein, King of martyr. Hussein, Hussein, has been slaughtered. Hussein, Hussein, true believer. Hussein, Hussein are his weepers. Hussein, Hussein, King of martyr. Hussein, Hussein has been slaughtered. Hussein, Hussein, true believers. Hussein, Hussein are his weepers. Ya Allah, Ya